Well, it's been all but confirmed that Jean Grey and Blade are coming to Marvel Rivals in Season 3. And if you thought instalock DPS was already an issue and people leaving when they can't, just get ready. It's only going to get worse. Let's talk about it, though. YouTube, what's going on, man? It's Father Dark. I'm up extremely early, crack of dawn, recording this video for you all. I didn't intend upon having to make another one, but I just, before I left, really wanted to talk about this because a lot of people had messaged me yesterday about the apparent leak for Jean Grey and Blade. And for those of you who don't know, I don't know if this was during a Twitch stream or if it was just a description, but at some point yesterday on Twitch, they apparently leaked in a description for a stream or video that Blade and Jean Grey would be coming to Marvel Rivals in Season 3. Now, the thing about this is that, like I said, this could be something that was done on accident or whatever. So, you know, don't take everything with a grain of salt until it officially comes from NetEase. But I do feel like that's a pretty good indicator, because why would Twitch just make that and then for no reason and then just, you know, have that in their description for a video? I mean, obviously they didn't intend to put it out early, but still at the same time, I think that this is as good as any indicator of what's actually coming to the game. Nonetheless, though, the reason why I wanted to make the video is because from some pretty reliable sources, people that since the game has been out have been leaking things, especially when they kind of do it in a not so much confirmed type of, you know, manner, but in the sense of like, hey, this is pretty much what we've heard from the inside devs and all that kind of stuff. They've been saying that Jean Grey and Blade would both be DPS characters. And, you know, the thing that the problem that I have with that is that right now we already have a problem where everybody kind of wants to be the main hero type of deal. You already have so many people that immediately load into the game. Pretty much every match for me this season has been a 5 DPS instalock type of situation. A lot of people that do not know how to play support. They don't know how to play tank. They only know how to play a handful of characters. And it only gets worse like when a new character comes out, even with Ultron coming out and him being a support, and people thinking like, oh, well, now people are going to want to play support. People were picking Ultron just going like full DPS with him, right? And then teams were assuming that we were going to be getting healed by a healer, and no, bro's throwing a drone on a tank and then going to work trying to one-shot people. So with this situation, I feel like what's going to happen is that the whole season you're just pretty much going to have people that are insta-locking the new characters that come out. They're going to be leaving matches as soon as they can't get them once again, which I've talked about it before. That's kind of like the only issue with it, not the only issue, but that's a major issue with this game when characters release. That's kind of like the main form of content outside of us getting a new map and them changing some characters around a little bit. But for the most part, everybody wants to play the new character, and a lot of people do not like having to play Doom matches. They want to play them in actual matches, and not everybody can get that new character. So it is what it is. But the problem is that, like I said, a lot of people, they try to insta-lock this character and then they immediately leave when they don't get the character. And also, too, with us having 2 DPS, it just kind of shines a light on a really big problem that we have with this game, is that that's the most fun thing to do in the game is play DPS, unfortunately. And it just does not motivate people to, you know, want to play anything else. And it seems like the enemy team can always figure it out. Like, they always have 2 good support players. They always have 2 good tank players. But my team is just filled with people that do nothing but want a DPS. And even that, they don't really do as well as they probably think that they do. So that's just like one of the issues that I have with this. And once again, I just have to state, we don't know exactly what their roles will be. We really don't even know exactly if they're the ones that are coming. This could have been a mistake on Twitch's part, and a lot of people are taking it and running with it. But I mean, it does kind of make sense. There's been a lot of stuff that's been leading up to Jean Grey being the main hero of the season, and then Blade coming in after the fact. You know, with all the stuff with Adam Warlock going on. Null, them saying that they need a cosmic threat to be able to handle a cosmic threat, or however exactly they put it in the lore. And with Blade, I mean, people are just kind of tired of him being teased. I think NetEase probably originally was trying to do something where they would have characters that kind of existed in the world, and worked as like world building and stuff, and then people just were not cool with that. Like, no, if you show me a character in this game, I want to be able to play them. So I think NetEase is kind of like learning their lesson. I could be wrong on that, but that's just what I think originally. I think that they're kind of caving in to people just complaining and asking for Blade over and over and over again. And I get it. When you like somebody, you're like, give me that character now. If they showed Daredevil just chilling out in the world, I would be really tight if they just kept teasing him and didn't give him to me as an option to play different people, etc. Right? So it is what it is in that regard. But I do think that we need to we need to really start working on pumping out these Vanguard and actual supports, not these pretty much mainly DPS supports that just don't really work that well. And I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, well, Ultron does great healing. Yeah, because you just stack a drone on like one person and barely really switch it around. And I'm not saying there aren't some Ultron supports that don't do that, but I think most of us can agree that it is a lot nicer to have someone that does a lot more like consistent healing versus Ultron. Right. And the problem is that he doesn't like really heal himself. He can put a quick shield on himself, but he doesn't really heal himself. So he's kind of dependent on another person to have to heal him. Whereas I tend to like support players that actually have the ability to heal themselves, kind of like, Invisible Woman, Cloak and Dagger, even Mantis can heal herself, Rocket. I mean, there's numerous ways. Loki has ways to heal himself. I think Ultron's really the only one that can't heal himself. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if there's another healer that can. I'm early in the morning, so brain's still waking up. But like I said, though, I think this season, as someone who is predominantly a flex player, I think that I'm just going to kind of stop doing that. I think this season I'm going to let the rest of the community figure it out and stop flexing all the time. And, because the thing is that as a flex player, it's not like, oh, well, I have to equally flex all the roles. No, nobody's ever making me flex to DPS. It is 99.9% of the time you're having to play support or you're having to play as a tank. And I'm kind of burnt on that. I want to also have fun and play the new characters as well. And I feel like I may not probably be the only one who's kind of going in that area where it's like, hey, you know what? Let me just go ahead and actually have fun playing this game and doing what it is that I want to do. So, like I said, I may have to take a break from flexing simply because when Jean and Blade come out, of course, who doesn't want to play the new characters? But like I said, I just think that this season is probably not going to be as fun as an actual team experience for people, simply because you are going to have that issue. And, hopefully they're going to stick to their word. And with this season, they will start making the seasons shorter, meaning they said that they were going to do 2-month seasons instead of like now they're like 3 months or however long it is. And that way we'll be able to get a new character every month. I don't know. I think that we have to figure out something here, though, with this DPS situation, because they what is it like? There's like 3 times the amount of DPS than there are any other characters in the game. And for a lot of people, those are the most fun characters to play. A lot of people do not want to sit here and have to heal and not get MVP as much as their teammates to be talked down to. Then you have the tanks that a lot of people just don't understand the concept of making space and pushing out in front, or they don't know how to kind of fall back when they need to. So they're just jumping into the enemy crowd to Hulks, I'm talking to you, and just going crazy with absolutely no help. And then by the time they always jump back, they've been deleted. So it is what it is, though. But I am curious to know in the comments, like, what your thoughts are. Do you think that it's not that big of a deal? Are you excited to see Jean and Blade coming? Are you going to be insta-locking them? And definitely let me know that in the comments, because I think that the comments are usually a really good indicator of how the community is feeling. Are there any other reworks or anything that they've talked about that you're interested in? I don't know if they've released any of their like little dev talks talking about like the new season yet. And I think that's really the only thing that they could do to make it to where people, but the thing is too about that is that even when a new character releases and they're not necessarily the best character, you still have these people that just insta-lock the hell out of them because they're just new. I don't know if people remember, but like when Human Torch came out, he wasn't necessarily like goated or anything, in my opinion. I feel like they had to buff this man like 3 or 4 times before he became broken. And even then, I wouldn't really say he's like broken. I think he's just a pretty good DPS, but there's definitely ways to like counter him. He's a flyer, so he only has so many options there. But I mean, also I could be wrong about that. The point that I'm making is that even when characters release and they're not necessarily like the meta or anything. People are still just interested. It's what it is. I make this comparison all the time. We're all, kids are people that just, you know, they eventually grow up, you know, and you still have certain aspects of your childhood that I kind of see as being a parent. And one of the things that I notice is that we all kind of like the new shiny thing. I do think if they really started making more characters like completely different and changing kits around, and I understand there's a lot of people that don't like that. The Jeff rework just completely just blew the community's mind. Oh my God, they're changing a character I don't even play that much. And for the people that did play him, you know, it's whatever. But at the same time, I see so many more Jeff players now than I ever did before. I mean, this season has been nothing but, or the end of the season has been nothing but Jeff and Ultron. It's like every match, that's all I see. And prior to that, never really saw people playing Jeff ever. So I do think that's interesting. I think it can definitely make things interesting when you completely just switch stuff up and change stuff around. And I think as a live service game, that a lot of us just might have to start getting used to that to keep things interesting, because with only getting one new character every even month, you know, like, which is shorter than it has been, still got to find more ways to keep this game interesting. You know, it's not a Fortnite or a Call of Duty where they're bringing out tons of new stuff and changing stuff completely on a much bigger scale constantly and at a more frequent rate. This game has very few things that it can really change and add to the game without it just becoming oversaturated, like meaning like with maps, and they can't just drop 4 and 5 characters every month. That would be completely unrealistic. Before you know it, we would have 600 characters, right? So it's just not reasonable or realistic to do any of that. So, but let me know in the comments though what you all think. Do you think that I'm overreacting? I'm taking it off the deep end in regards to there being a very serious DPS problem, and I'm mostly saying that because I am going to be part of the problem. I'm really not going to be playing support or tanks this coming season. So that's one less person you have to be able to flex and worry about it. I'm just going to do what everybody else does and make it, you know, not my problem. Let everybody else figure it out. But yeah, do you think I'm taking it too serious, or do you think it's not that big of a deal? Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm really interested, and I'd love to hear from you all. But like I said, though, I got to go pack and get ready. I put it off to the last minute like a very irresponsible person. But I will see you guys on the next one, though. It's Father Dark, and I'm out.